Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm a veteran game designer with over 20 years experience in the game industry. I've also built a lot of cool, fun stuff like stuff for Walt Disney Imagineering. I designed an award-winning board game. I've worked on mobile games and console games and all kinds of other fun stuff. And I am, in this series, I am reviewing games that are submitted to me in Reddit just to give some high-level feedback basically about what makes something fun. So for those who don't know, I talk about what makes something fun. From a universal level. So not just in video games, but today I'm talking about video games. And I use 5 steps to making something fun. So I'm going to go over each one of them throughout the video, but just for your reference, the 5 steps are: number 1 is psychological safety. Number 2 is clarity. Number 3 is engagement. Number 4 is tension. And number 5 is discovery. So all big dopamine hit types of fun are derived from those steps, basically in that order. So if it's a pro wrestling match or a video game or a stand-up comedy or a movie or what have you, they all kind of roughly go through those same steps. So I'm putting your game through its paces along those steps about what makes something fun, pretty much universally, and I'll go into detail of each one. If you like this review, I also do more in-depth reviews. I also go one-on-one. I do one-on-one consultations. I could even do more in-depth design, all of that on my website at harbingerofun.com, because I do this for a living. I am a game designer and I consult on games and a lot of fun stuff on my own. So check it out at harbingerofun.com. If you like this content and you want to see more of this stuff, make sure you like and subscribe and all that other YouTube-y stuff so I could do more of it. If you don't do anything. The message will be clear. All right, so let's get on with the review. So really quick, the 5 things that make something fun are psychological safety, clarity, engagement, tension, discovery. So usually for most video games, you don't have to worry about psychological safety that much unless you're doing really offensive content. So if you're talking about some things that other people may not be comfortable with, even if it's super violent, might be not comfortable with. So if people think that your content, if it offends them in some way, then they're not going to have fun. So I'm not interested in the conversation about morality or about what's offensive. Certain people, if they are offended by certain things, they're just not going to have fun with it, period. So, for example, in this game, Octo Jump, it's very friendly. It's a really light game. There's no like spicy material in it or anything. So obviously psychological safety is pretty much there unless you have some kind of PTSD with platformers or something. So you don't have to worry about psychological safety. The next one is clarity. So when it comes to clarity, in order for someone to have fun, they have to understand what's going on. They have to clearly understand what's happening and why. The best form of clarity is if you can resonate with them, if you can touch on them on an emotional part, if you can put them in a position where they're like if someone was just absolutely in love with platformers and then it was clear that this is a platformer, you might have their attention right away. They might just love it right away. Or if somebody's obsessed with, if you have like a 5-year-old or something that's obsessed with octopus, when they see this game, they're going to be like, oh yeah, I love octopus. This is my jam. So the very first step is clarity and resonating. You want to, if you can resonate, that's the best. But at the very, very least, you want to be clear about what's happening and why. Okay. Start the game. Pretty simple. Okay. Jump. Can I double jump? No. Are these special? Okay. Figure that was it. Cool. All right. Take this. I'll accompany you. I don't know what that is. Okay, so that's already a bad sign. The frog character says, "Take this with you," or somebody said that, and then the frog jumps to you. It's why? What's happening? Why is this happening? Like, you'd never want to give reasons to confuse the audience, because so what the audience is trying to do is they're trying to build a world. They're trying to understand the logic of the world. So when you introduce things that may not make sense, you're kind of expanding their library of what they know of the world. So if you never come back to pay it off, or it doesn't make sense now, or even in any context of what you're doing, it's just confusing, and you're sort of like muddying the world up for no reason. So one of the, I guess this is a more advanced lesson, but like everything you do is adding to the library of the world that you're creating. And so you either have to pay it off, or you have to make it worth knowing at some point, or you have to factor it in the future or something. So yeah, just the fact that the frog jumped up to me and I didn't know what it was or why it was there. It's a very, you're just introducing more aspects that the player needs to keep track of, and if they don't make sense, it just adds to the confusion. And again, the number one rule of making something fun is clarity. So they have to know, especially at the beginning, because this is the very beginning of the game, so they have to know what's going on and why, and what's my relationship to everything. You can hover now for up to 2 seconds. Okay. What's the point? I can't move if I'm hovering though. That's an interesting mechanic. I can honestly say I haven't seen that mechanic before, where you stay in one spot to activate something, and it's in the air. You can jump, double jump. Okay, cool. Oh, huh. That's a good. This is actually a pretty smart level design right here. You should make it so if you double jump, you can't double jump to get up here. You should have to use this to double jump. And then the player, you don't have to explain to the player that they have to double jump, but they'll learn, because this looks close to me being able to double jump if this was a little higher from here. But then combining the double jump with moving horizontal, this would be a really good lesson in why it could make you reach further distances without having to hold the player's hand. They'll discover it on their own if they kind of see like, oh, if I double jump, I have to go on this little ledge over here and then run and then double jump and then I'll make it. I can't just go like straight from here and double jump. So, because I can totally do that right now. So that's really what you're trying to do as a designer, is you're trying to create opportunities for discovery. And what I mean by that is you want to create opportunities for players to learn on their own. Because when a player learns something on their own, it's that much more profound, but it's that much more fun. Versus right now, I'm not a huge fan of tutorials. So telling the player that to do a certain thing and then they do it, they are learning, but it's not fun because they didn't learn it on their own. They're sort of being told something. So when it comes to tutorials, I try to make it as intuitive as possible, because it's way more satisfying for the player when it is. All right, I'll give a few more thoughts once I get more. So this is great right here. These little blocks here, because I'm going to want to double jump to get those and they put me in danger. And one thing you're trying to do is you want to create stakes for the player. And so this is really good stakes that you're putting them close to death. Can I do this? And you're making it more stakes are involved when they do certain choices. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm just going through the level because it's telling me to go through it. Wait, so what am I supposed to do? Did I pick it? I don't know. Did I press 1? Yeah, I honestly don't know what that is. So small things confusing like that are actually big deals because I didn't know what to do. You probably know what to do watching it, but I didn't get it. And so usually that means that you want to make it more intuitive. You want to have taught the player something that they've been doing, and then have them do it in this new context. Because a player should never think about how to play the game. Just should the only challenge they should have is the challenge in the gameplay, not how do I play the game, or they shouldn't have to learn too many new things at once. Because I think I was learning how to that there are new moves I can do, but also a new way to select or equip them, like at the same time. I would have parsed that lesson out in a in a easier way, in a more organic way, in a way where it made sense, where I learned one thing and then I learned the other, and so I'm not even thinking about how it happens. Um, and I want to play this again just so I can figure it out because I actually don't know what it was. I can see that they're like skills or something, but here's something that's coming out to me right now. I'm going through these levels just to go through them. I don't feel a need to do anything really than to get to the other side. There's no either I skipped it, but most people, in general, players don't read any text at all. No matter what you're building, what you're developing, people won't read if they don't have to, unless it's a book or something. So I'm not going to read anything. So I actually don't know what the point of this ink is. I just know I'm collecting it, but because there haven't been any stakes established of you need ink to survive or whatever, I don't feel a need to go and get the ink. There's no reason for me to do it, and so you need to build in a purpose, like why am I getting the ink, and what does 1 and 2 mean? I don't know what that is. I got a D, so I guess because I spent too long. Okay, but why does that matter to me? Like if I do I need an A to pass the level or oh mother. Okay. So there's a decent challenge. I would say that the difficulty jumped up quite a bit. It's not bad, but here, the biggest thing, like the mechanics are fine. The gameplay is fine. The level design is actually interesting. It's just that why am I doing this to begin with? Like, what are the stakes involved? The first thing you want to oh mother. So first thing you want to as a designer, you want to really focus on. I'm not gonna make it. You really want to focus on an emotional connection. You want to resonate with the player because if the game resonates, then everything that happens in the game means a lot more to the player. So if I'm coming in and I need to rescue, if the octopus is on a mission to save his octopus wife, or, something evil happened to him or his family or whatever it is, then these things matter. If I'm trying to protect something, or I have a goal, or I have some kind of of objective that will resonate with me as a human, everything pays off more in what you're doing. So not only am I overcoming these obstacles, I'm overcoming the obstacles because the bad guy was such a jerk to me, or I'm doing it because I need to save my wife, or whatever it is. And the way this game began, and again, I know it's like under development. All these games are under development, but there was no. Oh my god, that was cool. But there was no reason for me to care. There's no intrinsic reason for why I'm an octopus. Why am I octopus? Why is this not taking place underwater? So there's like a lot of reasons. You can make players care a lot of different ways. And right now, the only reason why I'm caring is I'm trying to get through these obstacles in front of me. But why am I trying to get what reason do I have to continue doing this other than I'm trying to overcome this technical challenge of like jumping or whatever? But if there's no bigger emotional stakes anywhere, hold on. Okay. If there's no emotional stakes anywhere, you're going to overall have a more I should have hovered. Okay. So, but then also I don't care. So right now this is a perfect example. I realized that I should have hovered to accomplish something, but then that would have taken some more technical skill. And do I care enough about the story or the character or the challenge to learn that next skill? Because players are going to learn, they're going to rise to the occasion. If you give them a strong enough call to action, they're going to learn whatever they need to learn. They're going to put in as much work as it takes, but you have to engage them on an emotional level. You have to resonate them within the story or the characters or the context or whatever. And then they will put in the effort. They will want to see the next part of the story, or they want to do it for this reason that you gave them at the beginning. They're going to want to learn the things. And the thing is, there's pretty good level design in here. The mechanics are cool. And for a platformer, which there's been millions of, it does feel, as far as platformers can feel unique, it does feel rather unique for a platformer. The only thing you're missing is that emotional level. Like, why do I care? And the thing is, if you can layer on an emotional level to this, I'm dead. If you can layer on an emotional level to this, or with this already like solid game design beginning, it's going to be that much more satisfying to the user. Because not only are they going to overcome these levels and this design that you've put together, they're also going to care about the outcome. They're going to care about getting every vial of ink, I'm assuming. They're going to care about getting to the end, because it's not just about getting to the end. It's about getting to a resolution or getting to a conclusion. It's about so much more. And when it becomes about those other elements, I don't know why I thought that's a platform. But when it comes about those other elements, it becomes more satisfying because they're overcoming an obstacle. They're overcoming their self-doubt. They're overcoming like the challenges you put in front of them, but they're also progressing the story. They're also getting to that next narrative beat that you've set for them because they care about the story or they care about the context. Or if this is why a lot of people use intellectual property in games, because people already have an emotional connection to SpongeBob or Ninja Turtles or whatever it is. And so you're doing it for the character, you're doing it for the story that you're already in love with. So if you can add a little bit of context to why I'm doing this to begin with, and you're going to have a more solid and more fun experience. What you want to do is, so basically games are made up of two things. There's wrappers and mechanics. So mechanics are, for example, the mechanic of this is a platforming game. That's what the mechanic is. The wrapper is I'm a squid. So if you can if you can elaborate on that wrapper, like this is a squid, he's in a squid world, he has squid problems or whatever it is. And the more you can marry the mechanics to the wrapper, the more satisfying everything becomes for the player, because it becomes more intuitive what you're doing. So if this was about, like, I know there's hovering, which I don't, if this was underwater, it would make more sense. Is this underwater? Anyway, so I know there's hovering, and then I think there's something about squirting ink, but the more you can make the wrapper intertwine with the mechanics, the more satisfying it becomes overall for the player, because it becomes more intuitive what you have to do. It also makes more sense why you're doing what you're doing, because that's what would happen in this world. And it's just overall a more satisfying experience. So I would try to make the octopus part make more sense. Like, why is this an octopus world? Why is he an octopus to begin with? And then create more of a narrative, create more of a reason why I'm doing this. Like, why am I going through this world? It's not just about the technical challenge. It's about this story that's going on. I thought it'd work. See, if there was a point to doing this, that would have been really satisfying. Other than just me doing it, which people get over that pretty easy. And that, quite frankly, you could do that with any game. I could get to the end of any 2D platformer I wanted. Does that in and of itself feel satisfying? Meh. But if there was a reason to do it, if you engaged, if you resonated with me on a more emotional level, then it would be irreplaceable. Then you've got something unique on your hands. But anyway, good level design. I think it's solid. I think you just need to create a reason to care. And I would love to see from you, developer, why is this an octopus world? Why is this guy an octopus? And the more you can, I'm dead. The more you can make that make sense and make a reason to care about the fate of this octopus, I think you'll really be onto something because the level design is good. All right, good job. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for this review. Let me know what you thought of this. Let me know what you liked about it. If you want to hear more from me, just go ahead and like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Also, I have a book that may or may not be out by the time you see this called Blueprint for Fun, where I talk all about what makes something fun, and I talk about the steps I mentioned earlier, and I go into a lot more detail about how they work for every medium and things like that. All right, thanks everyone.